Okay, update on my dad's health, the situation with him. Immediately, I can tell him, hey, I'm going to start, and you immediately go to try to knock the camera over. Okay, Gideon, come on. Gideon, leave. I mean, I've had this set up for a few minutes. As soon as I hit the record button, he runs over. He knows. So things have taken a definite turn for the worse. I just uploaded that video the other day, but I had recorded it several days prior to that. So a lot had taken place in that time. I believe in the video he had just got his port in. We were going to meet with the cancer team. Today's Wednesday. So much stuff has been happening, losing track of days. So we're supposed to meet with them on Monday to discuss the chemotherapy treatment, how it was going to go. I had my son come over that Monday morning to help me because I was like, there's no way I can get him out into the car by myself. So he came over and, we're trying to get him, because he lays on the couch, trying to get him dressed, and he's, not communicating. He's just kind of staring off in the distance. We really couldn't even it was, a struggle to even get him dressed. And I'm like, why are we even taking him in today? Like, today was just supposed to be an informative, they were going to tell us what was going to go on. I'm like, he's not going to know what's going on. And at this point, the way he's at, I don't think he can even get chemotherapy. Like I go and get my infusions. He would go to the same place I do where I get my infusions once a month. I'm like, I see everyone that goes in there, and no one's in as bad of condition as he is. They can walk in there. Some come in wheelchairs, but they can get out of the wheelchair and sit down. I'm like, he would need several people to help him sit in the chair, and he's not going to know what's going on. So I left a message for the cancer doctor that day to say, listen, I'm not going to bring him in for this informative meeting today. I don't think we're at that. I think we're beyond the stage of chemotherapy. I think we have to start looking at palliative care. I sent a message to his doctor too, his primary care doctor. We sat around for hours went by, waiting for someone to get back to us. Finally, his doctor, one of his nurses from his primary doctor, called us and, asked some questions about his condition and stuff. And, we even told her, I think we're at the point of looking at probably hospice care. And she's like, well, take him into call 911, have an ambulance come. That way they can transport him because, you can't move him. They'll come take him there just to make sure that port that they had put in there, there's no infection there, that this is causing the rapid decline, that it's the cancer, not the port. And then, if that's the case, it's not the port, it's the cancer. They can help you start the whole hospice path there in the ER. So that's what we did. We called the ambulance, or 911, ambulance came, they transported him to the ER. I went in there, sat with him. I was there for 6 hours with him. And, they ran some blood work, and obviously a lot of his levels in his blood are going up because of the cancer and his not eating, not drinking. So I can't remember which one of I don't know if it's calcium level was high. Something was high that they said that might be causing his confusion, why he doesn't seem to know where he's at. Or, I don't know if he doesn't know where he's at because he really can't communicate. He doesn't say anything anymore. He makes some noises every now and then, but yeah. So we took him in for that, and he laid in the ER, and like I said, I sat with him. I'd cover him up, and then after a few minutes, he'd take his covers off, and then he'd start shaking. I'd cover him up, and he'd stay like that. So he's really restless. He would always want to take his covers off. They had a gown on him. He took that off. Then they tried to put it back on him. And so then I went home for the night, and I came back the next day, and they had a little rig, a portable camera with a speaker that they put in his room. And I noticed there was a girl sitting in the hallway at a desk, looking so she could see him. I didn't realize she was there for him at first. I was like, oh, they must be watching with the camera. He's probably trying, when he was at home, he would try to get out of bed. I don't know if he had the strength to get out of bed there, but maybe it was because he was always trying to, he's taking off. They had the pulse monitor, rather than being on his finger, they clipped it to his ear. He kept pulling that off when I was there the day before. So maybe they were just keeping an eye on him, make sure he wasn't pulling, his IV or anything out. And finally she walked in to see if he needed his, his, what, pull-up diaper, I don't know what you would call it for an adult, changed. And she's like, yeah, I'm just stationed out there to keep an eye on him. I'm like, oh, I thought this camera. She's like, no, they just use that at night, that I'm here now to keep an eye on him. So, and I think it was just because he was constantly, you cover him up, he'd pull the sheets off a few minutes later, then he'd be freezing, then they'd cover him back up. So it was just constant. And so finally hospice came in so he stayed the first night. The next day I met with hospice in the afternoon, went over some things with them, let them know, this is the route we're going to go. And like even the ER doctor there said, you probably are making the right choice, that he couldn't even get chemo right now. He's so weak. And the cancer doctor called me and we talked and agreed that, it's at this stage, it's probably the best thing to do for him rather than trying to go through the chemo, that could make things even worse. So met with hospice. They couldn't get him out till the next day, which is today. So they brought him back to my mom's house by ambulance. Hospice did come, was it today or, gosh, things have been happening so fast. Hospice came yesterday to set up, or hospice didn't come, but they had, a hospital bed delivered, a wheelchair, oxygen. So we had that all set up. They brought him home today around noon, got him in his bed there. Then a hospice worker did come and show up a little later and talk with us and went over some things with us. They're going to give him 2 medications, morphine and something, I can't remember the name of it, but it's for his restlessness, so that he won't, roll around and try to get out of bed and try to take the sheets off him. So they gave him something for that too, or going to give him something. I have to go pick those up from the pharmacy. They put a catheter in, so to help things, a little better. I think a nurse, I'm going to go back there. It's like 3 o'clock. I'm going to go back over there around 6 because I have to wait for the prescriptions to get done. And they said they're going to try to get a nurse out there tonight to go over some things, talk with us. And then it looks like probably a nurse visit 1 to 2 times a week. I think she will assess him tonight if she comes and figure out how often she needs to come. And then aides will come a few times a week and they'll show us some things how to do. My son will be staying overnight at my mom's house, so she has someone there with her. I'll be there most days, and I'm sure other family members and stuff will stop by. So that's where we're at now. The chemo has been done with. So we're just looking at palliative care and just try to make his final days or weeks or however long it is as comfortable as possible. One thing that did happen, so when I took him in last week, so I think it was last Thursday, to get his port put in, they had to take his blood. So they take that rubber band and put it around your wrist, do a tourniquet. They never took it off. So when we were in the ER, again, it's so hard to move him. He doesn't move much. He doesn't say anything. We never knew it was on underneath his shirt there. We never saw it. We did notice that day we were trying to get him dressed when we had called the ambulance. I was like, wow, that one hand, his left arm is really puffy. We just figured maybe it was from the cancer or maybe one of the pills he was taking. But yeah, when they got in the ER and they took his shirt off him and stuff, they're like, why is that tourniquet still on there? I'm like, I don't know. It had to be from when we got the port in last week. So someone clearly is getting in trouble because it left a really deep red mark on his arm. And like I said, that whole arm was swollen up. But so there was that. And then when we got him today, when the ambulance dropped him off, I'm looking. And again, it's not the biggest. I mean, obviously the tourniquet thing is was crazy. But I mean, today they left all the, you know, when they do like an EKG, all the little sticky tabs, those are all still left on them. The port is still there. They probably at this stage are probably just are gonna leave it because we don't know how long he has. It's probably just easier on him than having to go in and get that port taken out. So they're just gonna leave that. So that's where we're at. Again, nurse coming tonight and go over some more things. And my air fryer is beeping at me. So I will keep you updated if there's any changes. Obviously, the changes won't be for the better, most likely. But that's where we're at right now. And I will, again, I don't know when, you know, because so much stuff has been happening and it still is happening. So maybe it'll be next week or whatever. I'll give you another update. And hopefully it's not too bad of news. All right. I'll see you guys soon.